Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. Have you ever wondered if you are a highly sensitive person, or what to do when you feel completely overstimulated, when your kids are making a lot of noise and you're feeling so frustrated and overstimulated by all the noise? Well, do you struggle with feeling overstimulated? Does it feel really triggering for you when your kids are making a lot of noise, there's a lot going on around you, and you just feel completely agitated and annoyed by all the stimulation? Well, I can relate to that because, first of all, I have 4 kids, and then second of all, they make a lot of noise. I mean, if you have kids, you know what it's like. I had a listener submit a question, and she said, "What are some tips for in the moment to calm down and feel less reactive when you feel overstimulated and snappy, but you cannot walk away in that moment?" Because one of the things I do teach, if it's possible to take a break and walk away, and sometimes you can't. Like, it's not safe. I mean, you need to be around your kids. You're in the car. You cannot leave and walk away. And so I wanted to tell you about practical things that you can do proactively to support yourself and in the moment, because in the moment is all great. And if you're not doing anything proactively, you're going to struggle a lot more in the moment. And if you're doing things proactively, you're going to have a lot more tolerance and you won't feel as triggered in the moment. So one of the things I teach my clients in my coaching program is to recognize if you're an introvert or an extrovert. and if you're a highly sensitive person. An extrovert, they just get their energy around being other people. They enjoy stimulation, they enjoy noise, they like loud music, they love being around people, and that's how they get filled up. An introvert needs some alone time to decompress and recharge. No noise, no stimulation, no screens, just some quiet and stillness. And on another level on top of that, oftentimes moms that are in my coaching program, they're similar to me. They are highly sensitive people. A highly sensitive person is easily overstimulated, easily like all the stimulation, like they feel things deeply. They are very empathetic and connected with others. There's a lot of positives. And then at the same time, a lot of noise bothers them. They're sensitive to alcohol. They're sensitive to coffee. They're sensitive to loud music. Maybe you relate to that, but I'm a highly sensitive person. I'm also an introvert. I feel like I used to be an extrovert mostly before I had kids, but once I had kids, I definitely became an introvert. I need alone time to decompress. So God created you in a way that you're an extrovert or an introvert. And one of the things that you can do is to respect and honor that and work around it. Instead of feeling like you have to be an extrovert and be able to tolerate as much as your friend does and be able to handle as much noise as she does, or your mom. My mom is an extrovert. She never needed alone time to decompress, and I do. And I'm different in that way, and I needed to honor and respect that instead of beating myself up. Well, why am I not like her? Why can't I handle as much noise and stimulation? So here are some practical things that you can do to increase your capacity so then you don't feel as overstimulated. Okay, we start here because if you don't do these things, you're gonna have a much harder time in the moment. Okay, so if you submitted this question, friend, or if you relate to this question, what do you do in the moment when you feel overstimulated and you can't walk away? Let's start out with proactive things. So first of all, have less things on your schedule. Don't go out as much and have go to the library and go to the grocery store and run an errand and meet up with a friend, and you have all these things on your schedule and all these outings and the zoo. All of that is stimulation, 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 right? A lot of that is creating a lot of stimulation for you, and you're going to notice that your capacity isn't there. You won't able to handle as much, and you'll have a lot more triggers and frustration when you come home with the kids. So if you're an introvert, recognize that and plan accordingly. I personally can only have about 2, maybe 3 outings a week. And especially in the evenings, I like my evenings to be at home. I don't like to go, 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 go. Yes, there's a couple evenings I can do that, but not on a consistent basis. I need time to decompress. So then I have tolerance and I don't feel as overstimulated. The other thing is you need to have pockets in your day where you have regular alone time, just quiet. That would mean getting up in the morning before your kids and your family, spending some time with the Lord, journaling, maybe exercising, maybe just sitting in silence and making your breakfast in silence. No music, no stimulation, no podcast, just absolute silence for a little bit. That is going to increase your capacity throughout the day and your tolerance levels. Also, pockets in the afternoon, if you stay home with your kids, quiet time in the afternoon. It's a must. Even if your kids are homeschooled and they're a little bit older, we always have quiet time in my house in the afternoon. After lunchtime, it's quiet time. Weekend or not weekend, if we're home, it is quiet time in the afternoons. And that creates another pocket of people being quiet in separate rooms, reading a book, playing with Legos, decompressing time. The other thing is also you could create pockets of time when you're driving. Oftentimes in the afternoon when I pick up my kids from school, it's a 5-minute drive and I take that time to have absolutely quiet in my car. No music, no stimulation, no noise, no listening to podcasts, no responding to clients, just quiet. 5-minute drive, but open the windows, listen to the birds. I mean, it's nice here in Florida. I know you're probably in a different part of the states and it probably is a lot colder where you are, but maybe just like quiet. I do have a toddler in the car, and thankfully she's pretty quiet most of the time. And it allows me to have some quiet, a pocket of quiet before my kids get in the car and create a lot of stimulation. And I did that, give that assignment to actually one of my clients who drives from work. It's a 12-minute drive from her. And we talked about using that time to have completely quiet to transition from work to home. So when she comes home and there's stimulation from the kids, it doesn't feel as triggering and you have more capacity. Like before bedtime, also turning off the screens and stimulation right before bedtime. I know that's hard when we are so drawn and addicted to our phones, but that is something I hold you accountable for in my coaching program. When we work together, we set phone boundaries, and I keep you accountable to stick with them. And so you can go to bed earlier, or even have a quiet time in the evening where you journal or read a book where you don't have that stimulation constantly going at you. Another thing is setting phone boundaries and going in your phone settings and turning off all notifications, unless it's like an emergency contact, like your husband or maybe your mom. Turning off all group texts, no notification, no nothing, no dings, no vibrating, nothing pop up on the screen, complete silence unless you open the phone and then you see a message there. No social media on your phone. That's another huge one, because that is so distracting. You're dealing with a child who's having a meltdown, and then you keep hearing all the dings on your phone. That's overstimulation. It's like something in your control that you can do today to increase your capacity levels. And so turning off notifications, silencing them, deleting social media off your phone, so it's just not even there. It's not distracting you, that you want to constantly go on the phone and create more blue light and stimulation, and you feel like you're escaping, but in reality it's creating more stimulation for your brain. The other thing that I noticed for me is having an earpiece, like a Bluetooth earpiece in my ear while I'm trying to deal with kids. I'm listening to a podcast or listening to an audiobook or a YouTube video. And what happens is I feel really overstimulated by my kids and the noise that they're making, because my brain is trying to focus on what I'm listening to, and here they are having a meltdown or they need me for some reason, and I feel more agitated and annoyed. So one of the things that does help me is when I start noticing that like I'm feeling a little bit on edge when they need me, I will take out the earpiece so I can be fully present. So then I'm not multitasking and not being pulled in multiple directions at the same time. So here are some signs that you are getting overstimulated. You're starting to feel frustration with small things. You are experiencing mental and physical fatigue. You have a hard time focusing. Maybe you even have resentment towards others. You're feeling flighty, disorganized, and unable to prioritize, and you just want to escape. You have a desire to overindulge in unhealthy behavior, like unhealthy coping, scrolling on your phone, eating sugar, maybe even having some alcohol, and maybe feeling hopeless and sadness. Those are some signs that you're feeling overstimulated on a regular basis. Here are some healthy ways to cope, and we'll get into like in the moment here in just a little bit, but here are some other ways besides in the moment. If you cannot, for some of us, we can walk away. If our spouse is at home and we can communicate with them that we need a break. If we have older kids and younger kids, we can ask them, the older ones, to watch the younger ones, and we can step away. If it's possible for you to go for a walk, one of the best things that you can do. It is nice right now here in Florida, super hot in the summertime, but this time of the year, super nice. And if my oldest one is home, and if it's time in the day where I know it's not ideal, and I don't do this often, but turn on some screens for the kids so then I can go take a walk in the neighborhood for 15 minutes and come back. And I have a way to contact my son. He's the oldest one at home, and I'm in the neighborhood, like literally on our street. So it allows me to remove myself for a little bit and being able to be present, look at the sky, listen to the birds, and just move my body and reduce that overstimulation. Another practical thing is you can lay under a weighted blanket in a dark room. Again, you need to remove yourself from the stimulation and the kids. Sometimes when my kids are making a lot of noise, I can go to the room and just close my eyes and lay in my bed and just no phone, no stimulation, just lay in my bed. Like taking a technology break. Yeah, like huge, 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 huge. Your phone is massive stimulation. And if you constantly are on your phone, you're going to feel a lot more overstimulated with your kids. Proactive thing, another thing that you can do is meditation, creating a time in your day. Usually mornings is the best. Like just a few minutes of literally closing your eyes and sitting there in quiet and stillness, taking some deep breaths. You can even focus on a word like God's presence and his love, his care for you, that he's your protector, he's your provider. Like pick a word that you want to focus on. And sometimes I literally just sit there in silence and take some deep breaths, like not even thinking about anything. And if a thought comes in, I just acknowledge it and like move it along and just continue to focus on my breath. And that is like decluttering for your brain, and that's going to increase your capacity so then you can handle more throughout the day. Another thing that you can do is when you are feeling overstimulated, focusing only one thing at a time. You just have so much going on at a time. So no multitasking. If possible, focus at one thing at a time. And then sharing with a friend or a husband, like when he comes home and just saying, hey, I feel overstimulated right now and I need a little break. Would you please be with the kids? Because I need to take a little break and go for a walk or whatever. Well, what do you do when you can't walk away, right? Sometimes we can't. We have little kids. Sometimes our spouses not home and we are in the car with the kids and we literally just cannot walk away. That's not an option. I've been there many, many times. So here are some things that you can do. If you're at home and you have music playing and TV going, turn off the music, turn off the TV. You can have your kids like put some headphones on or send them to the basement if they're watching something over there. So create some quiet around you. Again, phone boundaries, turn off notifications, just silence your phone, maybe even put it on do not disturb if you need to. So if my kids, again, I want to go back to if my kids are watching something or listening to music or something, I'll just have them put on headphones. So, and then in a moment, make sure you're taking out any headphones that you're listening to. So you're not listening to a video or a podcast or multitasking in that way. I send my kids outside if possible. I don't have a basement, but maybe you do have a basement. You can send the kids down there and actually communicating that with your kids. Say, I feel overstimulated and I need a break. I need you guys to go outside because I'm starting to feel really, really frustrated and mommy needs a break. I need you to go to the basement and stay there for 20 minutes because I feel really frustrated and overstimulated and I need a break. So that would be another one. Another practical thing is you can get earplugs that reduce noise. Like there's loop earplugs that you can get them on Amazon. I'll link them in the show notes. You can put them in your ears and then that reduces the noise that you can still hear the kids, but they're just not as loud. I already talked about taking a break and going to the bathroom, to your room, or stepping outside to remove yourself from stimulation, but you can't. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can just close your eyes and take some deep breaths. You're next to the kids, you're closing your eyes, taking some deep breaths. Well, if you're driving, you can't take deep breaths, but you can't close your eyes, but you can just take some deep breaths. Be mindful. Like another one is you're able to focus on what you hear and then say things that you're grateful for that. Maybe you can hear your washing machine and you say, I'm so grateful that I have a washing machine that washes our clothes, or the dryer machine, or the dishwasher, or the kids running around. I'm so thankful that I have kids that are healthy and they can move their bodies and their legs and their hands move and they're able to run around. I'm so grateful for that. And you can redirect your mind to things that you are grateful for about the noise that is happening. But I will say that honestly, like in the moment, if you cannot walk away, the biggest thing is you can put earplugs that will just noise canceling earplugs. Take away any extra stimulation if possible, turning off the TV, turning off the music. If you can send the kids to another part of the house, if possible. Sometimes I will turn screens on them for them when I feel like in a really bad place where I'm just like super stressed out, feeling really overstimulated. I don't have the capacity and I'm like, I just need some quiet. And I will turn on some screens for them, give them headphones, maybe send them to their room and I will have, just so I can have some quiet. If it's in the car with them, I will say, hey, I feel really frustrated and I need you guys to stay quiet. And then I'd be like, okay, let's see if you can count 50 trucks on the road. Or if you don't talk, by the time we get home, I will give you $1. Like something along those lines to get them to stay quiet in the car so they're not arguing with each other, kind of giving them some sort of reward. That is what I do. But communicating with my kids, I feel overstimulated. This is hard for me, and I would really appreciate for you to stay quiet. And if they start talking to me, I'm like, is this an emergency or is this something that can wait? I need some quiet right now. I can answer your question when we come home. Those are some things that I do in the moment. I hope this podcast episode was helpful, but I'll tell you what, proactive support, proactively doing things to increase your capacity and reduce the stimulation by having some regular alone time, reducing the phone, notifications, deleting social media, having quiet pockets in the day when you're driving with no stimulation, and having regular time to decompress. Those are going to be really significant if you want to have more tolerance. And in the moment, communicate with your family and what can I do to help myself feel better? Can I put, noise canceling headphones? Can I turn off the screens? What can I do that is creating the stimulation? What is in my control? I cannot control other people, but I can control myself. What can I do in that moment to help myself feel better? So I hope this podcast episode is helpful for you and I answered your question. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I apologize, but I hope you found some nuggets in here that are helpful for you that you can implement. And if you have a question, you can submit it to me. Scroll down in the show notes. There's a spot for you to click on to submit a question. You can fill out a Google form to submit a question. You can email it to me if you want me to answer it on the podcast, or you can even leave me a SpeakPipe a voice message. Also, if you scroll down the show notes, there's a link for you to leave me a message. All right, friend, until next time. Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.